home. Oh, children, home.
Good
I
evening.
wanna go home.
Good evening, Dominica. Whether you are at home in Dominica, in the Caribbean region, or the wider world, a special good evening to you. This is Roots Connections on the Big Station. This is where we get together every second and fourth Wednesday to discuss practical, concrete opportunities for moving our lives forward, especially as it relates to financial opportunities. So, opportunities for our Dominican brothers and sisters and friends of Dominica to achieve financial independence, to move our financial lives forward. By the way, before we get started this evening, I just want to congratulate Sir Brian Arlene. You know, last night on Kudos to Our Heroes, we celebrated Miss Sir Brian Arlene as a national hero, and it was so fitting. I watched the entire program. Unfortunately, I could not have been a part of the program, but I want to add my voice to wishing him congratulations to he and his family. So how are we navigating these challenging economic times? We are seeing the highest inflation rate since 1981. So how are you keeping up with your bills? How are you able to make ends meet each and every month? I know, simply mentioning the word Domlek might give some of us heart palpitations. I saw Jael kind of recoiled on that one. So, this is what we are here to discuss this evening. How can we all make more money? Especially, how can we be making more money as we see we are paying more for everything under the sun? And of course, we are talking about legal opportunities to make money. And stay tuned. Be sure to mark your calendar because in 2 weeks, on July 27th, we will also be talking about some of the illegal economies that are sprouting up in Dominica. So we're going to look at both sides of the coin. So this evening, we are looking at the legal economy and what we can each do, we can all do to ensure that we are making more money to meet ends each and every month. So once again, good evening to you wherever you are listening from every community, north, south, east, and west in Dominica, as well as the Caribbean region and the rest of the world. This is episode number 28 of Roots Connections on Q, right here on Q95, the big station, for today, Wednesday, July 13th. And I am your host, Simone Mathieu. If you're joining us on Facebook and YouTube Live, good evening to you. And if you're listening, but you're interested in joining our very engaging conversations on Facebook and YouTube, you can do so at Q95 FM radio. So again, Q95 FM radio on Facebook and YouTube, as well as Push Past 10 on Facebook. So again, we're seeing worldwide inflation rates increasing. So that is what we are here to discuss. We want to thank our panel for being here to join this discussion. Today, we are joined by Mrs. Monelle Williams John Baptiste, former UWP Senator and social activist, Mr. Robert Tonge, CEO of Tonge Commerce, as well as the multi-hyphenated, and she will tell us exactly what that means, because I think we all need to change our titles, so multi-hyphenated, Miss Jael Joseph. So let's say good evening to our panel as they unmute their mics and they say hello and introduce themselves to our audience this evening.
Do I go first? Good evening, everyone.
Yes, go ahead.
Good evening, and thank you so much for the invitation, Dr. Simone. It's a pleasure to be here. I see in the panel my former parliamentarian, Mr. Robert Tonge, even though he goes by CEO of Tonge Commerce, but he is a former parliamentarian, and the beautiful Miss Jael Joseph. That voice,
definitely not a parliamentarian.
not yet. Anyway, we don't know where you're headed. We don't know where you're headed. You're very multi-talented.
Never will.
I would vote for you.
I can almost guarantee you that I will probably never never go down that road. I'm too honest.
Okay.
Oh,
We'll leave that
it's
alone. So, Jael, go
we,
ahead.
we're leaving that alone for tonight.
Yes,
But
yes.
I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to share some of the experiences that I've been exposed to. I'm not just I'm not just a politician. I'm not just somebody in the public space, but I'm also an entrepreneur at heart, and someone who is very engaged currently in the online marketing world and the online financial markets. So I'll tell you more about that as we go along, because this is what we're here for. We're here to share the knowledge that we have on how to make an earnest living out of the skills and talents that we have been blessed with. So it's very nice to be here, and I look forward to the conversation tonight.
Absolutely. Jael, go ahead.
I thought it was I was going in order, as Robert then Jael.
Well, Robbie can
Ladies first.
understand. Ladies always go first, right,
Ladies first.
Robbie?
I don't believe in that. I equality. We're on the same playing field. But Jael Joseph here. Thank you very much, Simone, for having me on your show, and Monelle, as well as, I almost want to say Robbie, Robert Tong. It's good to be here with all of you. Multi hyphenated, yes, I am. I do a slew of things because I feel in order to survive, you always have to have multiple streams of income, and that, at least that's how I operate. I've always operated under that notion because I have been without money, and that is my greatest fear, is to not have money, and not even to die or to get sick or anything. My greatest fear is to not have money, because I feel like money answer of all questions, and as a result, I have dabbled and I keep my hands in multiple streams of income, including marketing, social media. So I do social media stuff. I'm also an MC. I contribute as a freelance journalist. I do communications and PR for companies. I also do marketing for companies, both here in Dominica and abroad. So I have, I guess, multi hyphenated myself.
And you have merchandise. I should have worn one of your T-shirts, Cocoa Tea.
Yes, I do. I do have. Well, besides that, I have online platform where I sell my merchandise for 767 Girls Rock, Black Island Girl, as well as Kakoti. So I have a merch store. I have a lot of stuff, and it's very hard to kind of keep track of everything in one conversation. But I'm sure as it comes on, or as we speak, things will pop up in my head. I'm not rich. I'm nowhere close to being rich, but I manifest that in 2 years tops, I shall be a millionaire. So that is what I'm
I'm with you with that.
I'm
Cheers
manifesting.
to that.
Put
Um,
it in the universe.
I believe I have good work ethic, and the businesses that I've been associated with kind of test to that. And I that's what I do, including going to school, because I'm also doing my master's in media production. So I'm completing my master's, one more month to go. And it's good to be here to share with you guys.
Yes, thank you so much. Robbie?
Hi, good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Good evening, Simone. Good evening, Monelle and Jael. Again, a pleasure to all of the listeners being here. It's always good to listen to people. Knowledge is power. And you see individuals and you assume certain things, but obviously when you listen to them, you'll hear that it's a slew of things that they're doing, and you'd realize also that nothing good comes overnight. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of hard work, especially if you which quadrant you fall in. So the employee, the self-employed, the business person, and the investor. So it all depends on where you fall. And I totally agree. Having multiple streams of income is what the rich do. So if you want to be wealthy and that you can take care of your family, you can take care of your expenses, you can take care of emergencies, and very, very important to leave a legacy for your children, to leave an inheritance for your
Absolutely.
children, to make it easier for them so that they don't have to go through the struggles that you and I went through and our parents went through. So I also want to remind people that is why we're all hustling, that is why we're all working hard. So when you see people getting up, they always remember it didn't happen overnight. So we're here to share our knowledge. in terms of the advantages of having multiple streams of income.
Mhm. And I can already tell that I made some great choices in selecting this panel because I can tell you have a wealth of information to share with the audience. But I also want to hear from the audience. We want to hear from you because this is our opportunity to share how we can all do better together, right? So, how are you coping during this time? What ways have you come up to earn additional income for yourself, for your family? And also an important part of the conversation that I'm hoping that we will delve into later in the program is where are you cutting costs, right? Because when we talk about increasing our income, even if we're increasing our income, but we're not cutting costs in some areas, then it becomes futile, right? Because it just cancels out each other. So I'm looking forward to this conversation this evening. I can tell that we have a lot to discuss. So let me once again thank everyone for joining us via Q95 Radio. I'm on Facebook Live with Q95 FM Radio, as well as YouTube Live and Push Past 10 on Facebook. We're looking forward to engaging with the audience, both on the radio as well on the phones, as well as via Facebook Live. We say good evening to Mr. G. Lambie, showing in the studio, keeping us connected. Remember, if you missed any episodes of Roots Connection, you can always jump on q95da.com. Our last episode was how are we protecting our most precious human resources, our children, the future of Dominica. And that is a conversation we need to keep having because here again, we've seen yet another murder of yet another young man. And correct me if I'm wrong, but is it 2 murders in 2 days? Is that what I'm hearing? So I think at this point we are up to 12 murders for the year, and we're only in July. So we have to continue to pray for our country, and we have to continue having those conversations about protecting our children. So again, if you're joining us, you just joined us a little bit late. This is Roots Connections, and today we are talking about why today more than ever we should have multiple income streams. So what are we covering this evening? This evening we are looking at why this is the time to monetize our skills and talents, and how are you doing so? How technology is making it easier than ever to work from anywhere in the world. As a matter of fact, now in Dominica, there is a program that the government has started called Nomad in Dominica that I recently found out about. And I am looking forward. I think one of the folks involved in that, her name is Olivia. So I'm going to have them on the program because this is yet something else that is creating financial opportunities. And even if these folks are coming in from overseas, think of the implications for our island, right? So these are bookings for our hotels. These are taxi drivers that are getting clients. So the opportunities are endless. So what else are we looking at? We're also looking at why we need to teach our children to think beyond the traditional 9 to 5 job. You remember that cushy job? You start in your 20s and you work until you're 65 and you get a nice retirement? Doesn't exist anymore. So why we need to teach our children to think beyond a 9 to 5 job. And finally, we're also talking about barriers that stand in the way to embracing this opportunity. So Miss Jael, I want to come back to you with your multi-hyphenate title. So tell us how you came up with that idea and what it all means for you.
Which idea? The idea of having multiple streams of income?
Yes. Tell us more
Well,
about that.
my mother worked for the government for years and as a nurse, and I would see her struggling. At the time after she would pay her mortgage, I remember exactly how much she would get in her hands and what she'd have to do with it. And there were times we were always well clothed, we were always well fed and everything. I would not say that we were poor, but she had to make a lot of sacrifices in order for us to be able to go to school, be able to take trips every year, because we wanted to do all of these things, And I decided from the time I was able to probably understand money and everything that I wanted to be rich. I mean, I'm like, I want to be rich, and rich in the sense of I want to, when I need to buy a ticket to travel somewhere that I'm able to do that comfortably. I mean, I might have to think about whether or not it's the best time to travel, if I have enough money and all of these things. But I always wanted to have the option to do that. And having a dual citizenship, which I have, I was able to, extend myself and expand my knowledge in Canada. So in terms of school, I went to school, I did medical aesthetics. So I'm a massage therapist, I'm a makeup artist. I did medical aesthetics in the sense of I could do laser hair removal, I could do electrolysis. There's so many things that I learned to do, because for me, I always felt like I needed to have a skill, something that I could do with my hands. So in the event that whatever else I went to school for fell through, I could take my hands and work magic. And I'm like, I've seen, working as a medical esthetician, even as a massage therapist, even as a trainer, it's made me significant amount of money. I mean, at one point I owned a spa, so I was able to do that. But for me, it was always about getting more. And as a multi hyphenate, it's something that you're on for. It's like a gift and a curse, in the sense of you always need to have multiple things that you're working on, because if you're not, you get bored. And that's how it is for me. It's boredom as well as much as it is wealth, right? So I decided, I would expand my reach, and I started doing radio. I did radio for a number of years in Dominica. While I was doing radio, I was doing sales and marketing. I mean, Mr. G can attest to that. I was probably the best sales and marketing person that'll ever cross at Q95.
Okay then.
I did sales and marketing for him. I started doing that, and I realized that there was so much more opportunities out there, and I wanted to identify as an individual and not as a corporation. I don't like 9 to 5s. I am not a morning person. I wanted to be able to control when I go in and when I leave. And working for an organization does not allow you those opportunities. A lot of times, managers want a level of control as to what their staff does, and I didn't want to be subject to that anymore. So I went out on my own, and going out on my own was probably the best decision I ever made in my life. Granted, I have guayed. I know what guaye is. I've been without money. I've had $0 in my bank account. I have not known at times where my next meal is going to come from. It's yes, Jael Joseph has happened to her. I remember even after Maria, I pretty much like used up all of my savings, because I was in the process of having a baby. I was going back and forth, and so many things were going on during that time. And I depleted my savings. Like, I legit had nothing left, after Maria. And when I saw how I felt and how my kids could potentially feel, being placed in that situation, I was like, that ain't never happening to me again. So being back in Canada, I went back to school again, and decided to do journalism. And while doing journalism, I started to expand my reach, in the sense of reaching out to people and marketing myself. I did something that a lot of people criticized me for, while I was working with Q95, being on social media. I was always on social media, and people thought my life was on social media. But I controlled the narrative, because I put out what I want you to see on social media. And I grew a following. By the time it was by 2016, I had surpassed 5,000 followers, right? When everybody was probably still trying to grow their social media. And it was organically, not having no special event or anything. It was just organic growth of my social media page. And that gave me a lot of I should say a lot of power, in the sense, when the pandemic happened, everybody was flooding to me, because I had a following that could help people potentially push their products or push their services.
And you already had the skills.
I already had the skills, right? So growing my social media really significantly assisted me, because like, people don't even know, like, to share, because of the amount of following I have now, to share a story on my social media is $100 a post, right?
Nice.
So and that is, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. So be it in North America, be it wherever it is, that's industry standard, right?
Mhm.
100 US a post. And to if it falls on my timeline, that's 250 US a post, right?
Mhm.
So you can make the money. It's just how you make it. And I went out, I organically I started growing my social media more through school, through learning, extending my knowledge. And I guess that kind of makes me a multi hyphenate because I was able to dabble in MCing, do a little bit of that here and there and everywhere, including World Career Music Festival. Granted, they don't really pay much, which they should,
But it
but
adds up.
but it adds up. It definitely adds up. I've done marketing consultation for people. A lot of people overseas contact me because they like especially when they're trying to work with organizations in Dominica. So they'll contact me because one, I'm a Canadian, so they get that benefit, and two, because I'm a Canadian Dominican, it also helps because I understand the Dominican demography. So they'll pay me the same money they'll pay a regular a white person, for lack of a better word, because white people always tend to make more money than us because of privilege. So they'll pay me what they'll pay a white person to do work in Dominica, and it just works. Having multiple streams of income has worked, and slowly growing,
Yeah,
but
it's still growing. Yeah, because I wanna ask you about your two latest ventures as well, the social media marketing and the what is it, Black
Black Island
Island
Girl.
Girl? Yes, I want to ask you about that in a little while. But Robbie, let me come over to you because I can already hear my audience saying, well, it takes a special personality like JL, a bold and assertive person. I don't have that personality. I want to be comfortable. I want to keep doing the same thing for 30 years. And just kind of tell us your journey, Robbie, into multiple different opportunities that you've created for yourself as well.
Hi. Okay. So I think one of the first things that we need to talk about is financial education,
Hmm.
financial intelligence. We need to
Yes.
be able to manage money. We need to be able to know money properly. Um, Unfortunately, many of us, most of us, 99% of us would, sorry, 99% of us were taught how to save money incorrectly. Most of us were taught to do your expenses, and after your expenses, you begin to save, when that's totally wrong, right? So, again, very important financial intelligence. There's so much information out there on the internet that can guide you. So, I think that's the first piece that we need to be aware of. We need to be able to manage our money. We need to know what we're spending money on, because you mentioned a while ago that we should be beginning to cut back on expenses. But how can you truly cut back on expenses if you don't know? And I remember a time in my life, I could tell you how much I spent on bread, how much I spent on sweets, how much I spent on going out. So once you're armed with that information, you can know exactly where to begin to cut expenses. But like you're back to your question, we all have different personalities. So there's nothing wrong in you being an employee and still having multiple streams of income based on the different things that you love to do, or the things that you're knowledgeable about, or the things that particularly interest you. So if you're at a company and you're great at doing bookkeeping, there's nothing wrong in learning how to put those skills online and sell those skills to persons in Dominica and actually out of Dominica. The great thing is that if you can go on Fiverr and you can go on Upwork, it means as opposed to having 20,000 people see it in Dominica, you'd have hundreds of thousands of people seeing your resume, and you can actually earn income as a result of that. So you can go both ways. You can either be an employee with your own personal skills that you can put online and you can sell those skills. And as you said, the government also has a program called Work Online Dominica through Israel and the UNDP, where it allows you to be trained and to be able to sell those skills online and to be able to earn income actually not only in Dominica but coming into Dominica. But if you are an entrepreneur and you like taking risks, not everybody likes to take risks. And you can see very clearly. If you think back, and I believe jail does the same thing, think of your fifth form class. How many people in that class are employees, and how many people in that class are business people? And the number is going to be extremely, extremely small. So again, we're not used to taking risk, and hopefully you're beginning to see a change with that, where you're seeing a lot of young Dominicans are taking the risk now, and creating small businesses and using social media to push those out. So my thing is that if you have skills, increase all your knowledge on those skills and sell those skills to other persons and offer those skills to other persons so you can earn an income from that. But very importantly, you must manage your money so that what you make, that's going to be spent it out. Because as you said, right now, inflation is high throughout the entire world. The gas prices, the war in Ukraine. Look at, I mean, none of us would ever expect that. What was it the euro and the US
Mhm.
dollar
The
actually the
US.
same? I mean, that has never ever happened. So it's a crazy time, but we have the ability to cut back. Um, in terms of the amount of fuel that we use, because gas is extremely expensive. Instead of driving to work every day, and you see it many times, the streets are filled. You go to a jam, and the jam looks like it's filled, but you realize every single person has come in one vehicle. We can begin to carpool, to begin to save money, and there are many different ways we can talk about that. So just coming back again, persons can make money from the skills that they have, or they can create a business and have multiple areas of bringing in income. The important thing is, what do you do with the income? You have to be able to save that money. Some people say 75% of your income for expenses, 15% for savings. Very, very important. Investment. That is something we've not been taught in the Caribbean. If you don't invest, the savings that you're going to make is not going to be sufficient to take care of inflation. So you're going to get what? 2% from the bank, 5% or 4% if you put it in a fixed deposit for 10 years, but the cost of inflation is way past that. So you have to begin to invest money to combat that. That's my take for now.
Yeah, thank you, Robbie. And I think you speak very well to that dreaded B word that so many of us do not even want to hear about, a simple budget. You have to have a simple budget because you would be amazed that the amount of money you think you're spending on certain items might be twice or three times the amount. So how are you going to manage, especially when we think of potentially leaving a legacy, which I'm happy you brought up, Robbie, that potentially leaving a legacy if we're not even managing the money that we have no idea what is coming in, what is going out. And many times people say, well, I don't make enough money to make a budget. I'm like, that is why you need to make a budget. So you can actually see where your money is going and where you can potentially cut on your money. But Monelle, I want to come to you just for your thoughts so far. You can comment on anything that you wish to at this point. But also, when we talk about increasing our income streams, like Robbie said, there's a lot of opportunity out there, but sometimes we get afraid because we're thinking, what is a scam? What is legit, what is worth investing in, and what is not worth the risk. So I want everyone to kind of chime in on that point, but I want to go over to you, Monelle, because one of the inspirations for this program is when I saw you post your Fiverr information that you were advertising your skills on Fiverr. So kind of just tell us about your Fiverr experience and then comment on anything you wish to.
Okay, thank you again for this invitation. Jael, a lot of what you said resonated with me. The same here for Robbie. I come from very humble backgrounds. I come from a family of farmers. I'm sure that both of you have read this story, Rich Dad Poor Dad. My mom is poor dad, and my dad is rich dad. My dad used to say, "I'm a millionaire." He died really young. My dad died at 58 years. He had multiple vehicles. He had a home. He went to jail, came out of jail, and started fresh. And in 25 years, he was able to build back everything that he'd lost when he went to jail. And it's because he had this concept in his mind. You could take away everything from him, he would get it back in a hurry because he had that mindset to go out there and leverage his skills, talents, and ability for his financial purposes. And so Robbie said something very important tonight. Like he said, if you have skills and you have talents, you need to leverage that for money. Because I am with you, Jael. I love money. And I like to say, if you don't love money, then salt on your palate. I don't love people more than I love money. But money is a tool that will take you places, and it will do things for you that will create a better life for yourself, for your family, for your community, for your country. And it took me a little while to get there. I have always been a bookworm. I did exceptionally well at school. I was valedictorian. I was student of the year. I was a bookworm. I read thousands of books. I was on the debate club. I was the all-rounder. I was the bookworm. I was the most likely to succeed, but that would be in the 9 to 5. But I realized that that 9 to 5 wasn't for me. Everybody expected me to become this big doctor or this lawyer. I'm very good at speaking because I'm a great reader. I'm an avid reader. I read a lot. And I have used that ability of reading a lot to be able to go out there, sign up for online book club. Right now, a lot of authors are seeking me out to do their book reviews, not only book reviews. I proofread books and I get paid for that. When you do the conversion US to EC dollars, let me tell you, it looks pretty coming into the PayPal and even pretty on your bank account locally.
But Monelle, let me
That's
interrupt you for just a quick second, because I think, it's great that we're sharing this information, but many times people think, well, how did she get into that? Did someone
right.
discover you and then it builds a reputation? How did you get into, editing books?
Well, I've always loved reading, but I've also been very passionate, but I've always been hungry for information. My motto for life is continued pursuit to excellence. And so I'm hungry for knowledge. I will read every book that's there to read. I will research every article that is there to research. So when COVID hit, that was post the election 2019, I lost the election, like we all know. COVID hit, I'm no longer a member of parliament. I needed to determine what now, what next? What do you have that you can offer the world? And seeing that you can't offer it to the world physically, how can you do this? And that is when the virtual thing hit me. But you don't need to be physical. You don't need to be present anywhere for you to be able to make an impact in this world. This is why this is called a global economy. This is why we have the internet. No, it doesn't matter wherever you are in this world. You are able to use your skills and talents because there are people out there who are hungry for this. And there were authors out there who needed Monelle to come and proofread for them and to dot their I's and cross their T's. And so I came across Fiverr. That's two you mentioned, Robbie, but there are thousands of others. There is Freelancer, there is Transcribe Me, there is, oh my God, there is so many. And so what you do not do is limit yourself. I was on 15 different platforms, bidding 10 times a day on every different platform until I could land my first gig. And so it takes consistency. It doesn't happen overnight. Everybody sees the rainbow, but everybody is afraid of the rain. People don't understand that this is a continued pursuit to excellence. It doesn't just start and it just happens with a bang. Right now, I'm at the top of the food chain on the online book club. Basically, what that means is that every day I submit a review of a review and I get paid $20 US. But it took me 800 reviews to get there.
Consistency.
You have to be. And it goes even past consistency. It takes discipline to do this. I remember a few weeks ago, I was in labor and delivery. My brother was having his daughter, but he was scared to be in the labor and delivery room. I needed to submit that review before midnight. I remember that baby not coming and it was 10 o'clock. And in the back of my head, I'm like, hurry up, get this baby out because I need to submit my book review before it's 12 p.m. And I'm in the gong and I'm out there on the hospital corridor, Dominica China Friendship Hospital, to submit this book review. Consistency and discipline. It takes a certain level of discipline to log in every single day to do this. And a lot of people are not willing to put in that level of work. People see us. I mean, they will see you because success have a way of showing itself. After a while, people are going to know. People will know that you're doing this and you're doing that because life is different for you. I'm like Jael. I don't want to be asking how much is this bread or how much does this plate of food cost. I want to order anything I want to eat and don't ask what the cost is. Multiple streams of income is important. Robbie, you said it right. We need to create a legacy of generational wealth where our children can live in the shadow of what we created. They can walk in this light. I don't want my children to have to face the bank and not have equity to do so. I don't even want them to have to face the bank. And Jael, you said millionaire. I am telling you billionaire because this is the age of the billionaires. This market recession, this global recession is going to create more billionaires than the last one. Because there are people like myself, like Jael, like Robbie, who is exposing other persons to Upwork and the other platforms that are going to be able to leverage their skills and talent in that mediums, in that space, to be able to take advantage of that. And I say this, I mean, once you're willing and you're able, what does it take? How many of us do not have a cell phone? There are games that you play online that pays you. I walk and I get paid. And that's what I looked for. That's what I typed in. How do you make money online?
Simple.
And that, how do you make, and there's 100, this person gives 100 different ways. This other person gives another 100 ways. All you do is try every single one. You cast your net wide and you're going to catch some fishes. I promise you that.
Oh,
People are not willing to do
great
this. You cast everywhere it is available, you do this. But what I have come to realize, Simone, is that outside of being able to cast your net wide, there are small monies to be made. But the skills that will pay you are the skills that are most difficult to learn. And one of the skills is I was able to learn how to trade the financial market. So this recession is a blessing for me, because the euro getting to that point was a blessing for me. I cut the move down because I'm a day trader. So I trade in the financial markets, and I was able to catch that move to the downside. Not everybody knows how to do this. I don't stay in the market. I don't hold my trades overnight. I look at what the market is saying. I look at the strength of the US dollar, and I sell the euro. But it took me years and a lot of monies, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, a broken computer to get there.
And you're doing this from Dominica?
And I'm doing this from home.
Yes, absolutely.
I can do this from my cell phone. I can do, but I treat it as a business, because I don't want to be on my cell phone and looking at the trades. I get up at 3 a.m. and that's a discipline. I get up at 3 a.m. every single morning to look at the financial market, gauge what it's doing, figure out if the euro is going to make a comeback, and I trade what I see.
Absolutely.
But how many people are willing to get up at 3 a.m.? How many people are willing to read 800 books? How many people are willing to put in 10 Fiverr gigs every single day? How many people are willing to go on Upwork and put in 10 proposals every single day until somebody picks you to do something for them? And then you've got to prove yourself over and over and over again, so you can get that 5-star rating.
Yeah,
consistency and discipline.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. Robbie, Jael, thoughts?
Yeah, well, I agree. What she said, everything she said. You know, when you said about 3 a.m., I'm like, I go to bed at 3 a.m. every night, right? So if I go to bed at 3 a.m. and then the rest of the world opens up at 8 a.m. and everybody's calling your phone. Well, now I've gotten people who regularly contact me into the habit of not calling me before 10 o'clock. So now they know that it's because my brain works better at night. So I'm able to stay up when the world is quiet, and that's when I can think. That's when I'm my best self is at night. So I stay up and I go to bed at 3 a.m. every single night. Sometimes I have 4 hours of sleep before I have to get up, because I might have to be on a call with some business at 8 a.m. Yesterday, I had to be on a call with someone from the Philippines, right? And the time difference, I didn't have a choice but to get up, and I probably still had Babs Dandoli on my face, but I had to get up and do it, right? And a lot of times people don't see, like what she says, people don't see all of the hard work you put, and they become envious and they become jealous and stuff. But I sacrifice a lot. I don't buy clothes. I don't shop, right? So I might always look good, but I spend very little on clothes, like very little. You know, that's something that most people might say women like clothes and we like this and we like the other, but I don't buy clothes. The last time I bought anything was 6 t-shirts. You know, Amazon has these 6 t-shirts, the Gildan t-shirts for $22.99.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And that's going to be my outfit all summer long. I'm gonna dress that up, dress that down, do all sorts of things, and you will never know. But that is what I do because I
Sacrifice.
have to sacrifice that. I want to be able to build. I want to be able to invest in a lot of different opportunities, and operate on a very, very strict budget. I literally have, and you could do a budget with Excel. You don't have to have QuickBooks or anything fancy. You just need Excel. You put two lines down the middle, one for your revenue, one for your expense, right? And just watch, and just I watch every single penny I spend,
Mhm.
every single dime. I am a watcher, so I'm always constantly on. If my bank account gets a certain amount, I start like pulling my hair. I start getting
Mhm.
agitated. I'm like, okay, I need to find another gig. Who's gonna pay me to do an ad? And that's how I roll. Right? I am constantly on the go. So when people see you succeed, like Monelle said, sometimes it will eventually show itself, and you can try and hide as long as you want to hide, but it'll eventually show itself. And I remember, somebody met me on a flight recently, and I was in first class and had nothing to do with me paying for it. It was my employer put me in first class, right? And the person's like, but Jael, you're rolling in money, man. You're in first class. And I'm like, my employer put me in first class. So I'm in first class, right? But eventually I want to be able to pay to sit in first class, right? If I travel alone, why shouldn't I not? I work hard. Why shouldn't I not be able to buy a ticket and sit down in first class? I should be able to do that and feel okay about doing it, and that I'm not hurting anybody. Granted, if I travel with my family, I probably will not do first class because that's another, expense. However, if you're traveling by yourself, as a business person who hustles, who work hard, you should be allowed. And this person was trying to make me feel some type of way. Granted, it wasn't even my money, it was
Mhm.
somebody
And you
else's.
shouldn't apologize.
Right? But I felt like I had to, because I was like, yo, like I even had to break it down. I'm like, yo, the company I'm working on, the project I'm working on, they put me in first class. They
Wow.
and I've gotten a lot of these gigs, especially in North America. So I travel all across North America. Right now, I'm producing a show, and we travel between US and Canada. We have two shows at the end of the month in Canada, and we have shows in the US next month. So it allows me opportunity to travel, whether it's for this employer, whether for whoever it is. I leverage what I need to leverage to get what I need to get. You want me to come? I'm gonna probably need to bring extra equipment, whatever. It's gonna cost less if I have two suitcases. Two suitcases might as well just upgrade me, like so so I work things out that way. But what I say is to say I do not, and I do not party. Most people think I look like the life of the party, like I'm a party animal. COVID taught me that I could do without it, right? So I'll pick and choose what event I want to go. And a lot of it would have to do with my friend network. So if my girlfriends are saying, oh, let's go to this, then I'll say, okay, sure, let's go. And other times I'll be like, I'll probably watch the price and say, no, I'm not going to go, because to me, when I look at my budget, it needs to make sense at the end, what I'm spending on this. First of all, you're going to a fete. What exactly you're going to go get out of a fete? I always think about that. If I'm not
Mhm.
getting paid some way, like if I'm not networking to meet somebody, if I know somebody's going to be there, and I
Yep.
probably potentially can make a link up and say, oh, that's a business conversation that can happen in the fete, and it'll pay off eventually. It's worth spending $150. But if
Mhm.
I'm not going to really make anything out of it, what's the point? Like, what's the point to dress up and put on pretty clothes and go and spend money on drinks and all of these things just to say you live in lavish, just to say you use a big bocha? Like, that's not what makes you a big bocha,
And
really.
that means that you're a businesswoman through and through, Jail. Because even in terms of having a good time, you're thinking, well, is there an opportunity to be had in this, or should I
Hello,
reserve my energy for something else?
hello. Of
Yeah.
course, you have to. And if you don't, especially in the line of work that I'm in, I do a lot of social media stuff. So my face is always out there. I want to grow my following. And granted, I could probably invest more money in probably pushing my platform more to gain more followers. But right now, with what I have, it's still doing stuff for me, and
Mhm.
it's doing well enough for me that I'm not overwhelmed. Because you also have to manage that in terms of not getting overwhelmed, because you don't want to leave customers not satisfied with what you're supposed to put out, right? So I'm good. I'm like, at the end of my masters, I'll decide and I'll determine whether or not I need to probably invest probably in getting somebody to manage my social media. And that is probably something that I will at one point in time I will have to consider, is getting somebody to manage me, because I'll no longer be able to manage myself, because I'll have so many my hands in so many different places that I will eventually at some point need somebody to manage me.
Yeah, and that speaks to having the grind on in the beginning, but getting to the point where now you have to hire a team to manage your business. So in the beginning, it's always a lot of tough work. But as you continue to grow, you continue to expand, then you're able to hire people. But Robbie, I want to come over to you because, I had an opportunity to see a glimpse into the working of the mind of Robert Tonge. I was recently in Dominica and I got an opportunity to spend time with you, your family, your lovely wife, my dear friend, Dr. Nesty Town. And, that's that conversation we were having on the beach at Mero. And you were talking about a potential opportunity that you were seeing. I won't go into the details, but it just kind of clicked in my mind like, wow, how are you able to vet what is a good opportunity? What is something worth the investment? And I saw you do the analysis so very quickly that I thought it was very interesting that you're able to just process the information and make a decision. So how do you vet an opportunity? How do you know it is worth going into?
Well, I think some of us are born with that talent. Some of us we're raised up, we're pulled up. For me, my father is and still is the ultimate entrepreneur, where he sees things, he sees ideas. The difference between my dad and myself is that he will take more risks. He will see something, he feels it's great, he will do it. Whereas I will see something, I think it's great, I will crunch the numbers. If the numbers are good enough, I would try to do it. So that's really the difference. So coming back to and Mona mentioned the whole issue of the cash flow quadrant. You have the E is the employee, and there's nothing wrong in being an employee, because like you're saying, and like Mona said, you can be working for someone and you have that skill. You can sell those skills online. You can do an afternoon job. You can do tutoring. I mean, even down to if you're a music teacher, you can now offer music classes online and earn income without even having to leave your house. So guess what? You don't have to take the car and drive and spend money on gas. So that's a big saving right there, right? And then you have someone who feels that, hey, I've done this, I'm doing this so well, I'm going to go out on myself and do it. So you have the S, which is the self-employed individual doing the work for themselves. It's great. Guess what? You end up working a lot harder than the person working as an employee, because the employee does 8 to 4, 8 to 5, and that's it. And like Jael and Mona will say, hey, as a self-employed person, you have to work basically 24/7, and you're looking at for all different opportunities. And then you can go to the next level, which is a business person, where you have now ease while the employee is working for you, so that if you're sick, money still comes in, right? If you want to go on vacation, money still comes in. So there are many different aspects of it. But for me as a business individual, my eye is always open. I'm not only looking for opportunities, I'm even looking for employees, because, hey, I go to a restaurant and that person treated me so well and they're talking to me properly. That person is automatically on my mind. Hey, in my business, I need people like that, because in business, you have to have the best possible people in your business. So the day I need someone, I already know where to go to and try and even get that person to come across. So you look at the ideas, you vet them, you try not to ask too many of your friends questions, because when you ask friends for advice, they always tell you, yes, 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 fantastic idea. Take the time and do some studies, do some basic questionnaires. And again, in the digital economy, you can actually go online and create questionnaires and polls and do this so easily and get a wealth of information in order to allow you to know whether that is a good business to go into. So keep your eyes open, always look for things that people want and try to see how you can um, put it in place. More or less needs are all, especially now in these tight times, people are looking at what they need as opposed to what they want. So if you're going to go into business right now, I would maybe focus on a business where people need these things to live. That's my take.
Yeah, and it's amazing because I see all these opportunities that popped up in Dominica during COVID, all the delivery services that quickly became available in Dominica. And it speaks to what you're saying, looking for the need and how can you fill that need? What are you passionate about? What is something when you wake up every day, it doesn't feel like a job? It is something you would do for free, baking cakes, braiding hair, tutoring, education. What is unique about you that you can turn into a business opportunity? So I certainly like how this conversation is going, and we're going to take our phone calls in just about 5 minutes. And then what I want to come back and talk to you guys about is a lot of times people say to make money, you need to spend money. But if what if you don't have any money? So I think for many people, the paying fun opportunity becomes a barrier. So I want to hear your thoughts on in order to make money. It almost seems like you already have to have money. So I want to hear your thoughts on that. But let me go ahead and acknowledge our Facebook Live audience who are very engaged in the conversation. Anthony Simon, I see you. Nixie Alfred, thank you for being here. Neto, I'm in trading my cousin. Great to see you. Victorious as God's plan. Nice to see you as always. Anithia Adams is here. So let's take a couple of comments and then let's go over to the phone as we invite our audience to join us. Carl Kofi James, greetings to the entire panel. Bless up, Simone. Carl, always great to see you. Patricia Fontaine, good topic. I'm listening. Let's see who else we have. I missed someone real quick. So Elsa Roy, great to see you. Thank you for being here. Rosie Felix, that's it, Robbie. They lied to us, maybe because they did not know better. We need financial education in schools, like the cash flow quadrant. And I think she put a link to a YouTube channel. Rosie also says, JL, I can identify with your mom's story. I learned late, but better late than never. Ellen Paul, I'm so loving this discussion, and I share similar sentiments with all of you. Victorious as God's plan. I just love to listen to Monelle Williams. Rosie Felix, people need to change their mindset and embrace the digital economy in addition to what else they do on the ground. Kearney Thomas, I love listening to Monelle. Jamima Miles, I'm loving this conversation. And she also says there's so many opportunities to make money. I swear every day I think of hundreds of business ideas by just seeing something in town. Mary also says, I love this conversation. So impressive, everyone. Claudia Carlton, great conversation. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here on the Facebook Live. Don't forget to share the live as we continue our conversation. So let me come over to you as we open up the lines and invite everyone to call to make a contribution, and then we will come back to our panel.
You're tuned to Roots Connection on Q95. The numbers to call in are 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097, 616-4257, and 305-432-9624. Let me run those numbers one more time. 449-3095-96 and 97, 616-4257, and 305-432-9624. We're standing by for your calls.
Yes, and thank you for that. So I saw you vigorously shaking your head, Robbie, when I said you need money to make money. So let's start with you.
No, no. Okay, I shook my head for that, but the other one I wanted just to clarify. I would not say that our parents lied to us. Our parents did not know better. They were not financially educated, and as
Yes, sir.
as a result, they taught us their best. But now with a lot of information, you have lots of persons who are providing great financial knowledge. Laura has a fantastic platform, providing a ton of information locally for local context. So good to get a local context. In terms of needing money to make money, that is not true. If you have money, it'll allow you to move faster, quicker, but you can also make a lot of mistakes. So you also need to make sure that you are educated. And as you're saying, Monelle is actually showing you, and the same work online program, all you have to do is to take your skills, sharpen them up a little bit, and you can actually go on all the various platforms. And if you put in the work, so it's just like advertising, and Gia can talk to you about it. If you put up your profile, it's not the right picture, and you only do it once, you're not going to get a job. So if you're consistently putting it out, and eventually when you get that job, you provide excellent service and excellent information, obviously you're going to get more business out of it. So my take is that you have to find a great niche and work on it. Obviously, if you have great financing, it'll take you to the next level. But most times people want to see that you're doing something positive. I remember when I went to back in was it 2004 when I went to the bank to give me a loan to create to expand on fast cash. They told me no, and I eventually, luckily, I read this book, The Richest Man in Babylon, that my mother gave me, and Retire Young, Retire Rich, and Rich Dad Poor Dad. And then I took my credit cards and I took a loan on the credit cards, and I took all of the information, all right, and then I took my data and I went back to the same bank, and then they eventually gave me a loan for what, 60,000. Then I had to go back to another bank. It took me 4 months to. So again, persistency is also very, very important. You're going to get knocked down. You're going to get pushed down. People are going to say you're not good enough. People are going to say blah 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 blah. And even when you're starting to go up, they will still try and pull you down. That crab syndrome. It always happens. But you have to be focused. You know what you're trying to do. Have the right set of people around you. If everyone around you is looking up at you, you have an issue. You need to have people around you who are going to pull you and push you up and make you want to move to the next level, right? And you in turn also have to pull those below you and bring them up to your level and hopefully even go past you. So you don't need money to make money. You just have to have the right knowledge, the right education, and the right people around you. Just like JL said, you go to the events, and my father also says the same thing. It's not who you know, it's who you know and who believes in you. Because if they believe in you, they will push you, they will give you the loan, they will help you, they will give you the breaks. But if they don't believe in you, you don't want to get the break.
Oh my God, Robbie, I'm so glad you said that because I wanted to actually, because you mentioned, even before the break, you were talking about, the friends, don't listen to friends. But I was gonna follow up with that and say it's not necessarily don't listen to friends, have the right friends. Like I feel at some point when you're growing and you're getting to know who you are as an individual, you tend to pick friends, and sometimes they're probably not the best friend groups that you need to have around you. And I learned a lot later in my life who were the good friend groups, and it was from advice that actually Robbie gave me, and I started, and he said the exact same thing about it's not who you know, but who will believe in you to invest in you. Came on a show that I had on Vibes Radio, and you said those words, and that stayed with me. And I have actually put that into practice. And my friend group is very selective. If you're not here to empower me, inspire me, educate me, encourage me, go. You're not like you're not doing nothing for me, and I want to be able to do the same for my friends, right? And I have developed friendships with people who are willing to invest in me. I've had people meet me and ask me, how much money do you want? If you want to do this, how much money do you want? And sometimes I'm just like, oh my God, like what do I do? Like you get all nervous and everything is like these are people who are millionaires, asking you how much money do you want. The other day somebody messaged me and they're like, I want you to make a documentary on this jail. How much money is it going to cost? And I'm like, just like that. They're like, yeah, how much? I believe in you. Like, I believe you will make a documentary that will be great and people will want to look at it. But how much do you want? And so I feel to some extent, it's not just having friends, it's having the right friends. I'm not saying that you should pick friends that are necessarily rich, because not all rich friends will give you good advice. But you because some rich friends also want you around so they can show you that they're rich, right? So they can make you see what you could missing out on, because some people do that, right? Have the right friends in your life that will encourage you, inspire you, motivate you. These are the kinds of people that you really want to have, and that's what I mean, it took me a while, and I can say now I have a really, really good group of friends, you know, that around me, really good friendships. Gilda, I know you're listening.
I know she is.
And you know, I have a really good group of friends. You know, my friend Elon is listening right now, and she's like, Jay, you know, I'm in your corner. You know, like I don't even have to ask, and I always say to them, you know, when I become a millionaire, we're going to Maldives, or we're going somewhere. You know, we're gonna take a trip. You know, so yeah.
But let me come to you, Monelle. Thank you, Jael and Robbie. Let me come to you, Monelle. But before I do, Havis Badwill, I also see you. Good evening to you, Mr. Badwill, or Badui, like we say in the US.
Badwill.
Great to have you on board. Monelle, let me come to you for your thoughts as well. And you know, it's interesting that we're having this conversation, because then how do you get people to believe in you? I think, and that's a question for the panel in general. So let me come to you, Monelle, as you talk about, paying for new opportunities and making money. You have to have money, but also let us also talk about, because we brought it up. So how do you get people? It's easy for our immediate friends and our immediate family members, but when we're thinking about looking for investors, how do you get people to believe in you so you can pursue opportunities? So Monelle, let's go over to you.
Okay, well, great question. Jael said something I want to comment on before I answer that question, Simone. One of the things she said is about being very selective with your friend group. What I've come to realize is it's very lonely at top. It's very lonely on that walk, because you don't get to go out. You don't get to do a lot of friend stuff when you're on that journey of wealth. And I don't know, Robbie, if it was the same for you as a man, but as a mother, as a wife, it is we don't often get time to be anything more than mothers, wives, and pursuers of our dreams. And when you're pursuing your dream and you're relentlessly doing that, it gets lonely because you don't get a lot of free time. But what gives me comfort is that there's going to come a time when I'm going to have too much time. I want to retire at 45. I'm 37, so I have a few years to go, but I want to retire at 45. So once I'm retired, then there goes. I'll have enough time to build back. You try not to distance yourself too much and go into that bubble where you shut out everyone. But a lot of the time, people don't understand the journey. People don't understand why you do what you do. And Robbie said it earlier, it's because of the lack of financial literacy that we have. And it's not because our parents didn't teach us, it's because they didn't know better. And not only did they not know better, but their time and our time is two different times. This is the time where we can leverage the internet, where we have this space that they did not have, that they were not exposed to. There is this wealth of information and knowledge out there that they did not have, that the comfort of knowing about. So many opportunities are presenting themselves. Back in the day, everybody would go to the mills and work in the factories and all of that. But now we still need this, but most things are automated. A lot of things are automated. So you don't even need as much physical workers as you need those who understand artificial intelligence. So even now coming into this space, the question is, do you need money to make money? No, you need skills to make money. The more skills you have is the more wealthy you are. And a lot of people say that doctors get paid a lot. They get paid a lot because they have their skill level warrants that kind of money. The higher up you go in the quadrant, these people offer a lot. It is what you have to offer that makes you that sellable person. How do people come to you? How do people approach you and offer you, or, pull you into their spaces and say, I need, like Jael, I need you. I'm offering you $1 million. Why to Jael? Because of her confidence, because of her voice. But I'm sure this is not something that comes easy for her. She has to groom this. She has to speak properly. She has to keep reading. She has to sharpen her skills. She has to know a multitude of languages. She has to know how to say what to say. And it's because over time, through experience, I'm sure it's through reading, she's going back to school and all of that. What she's doing is sharpening the skill that she has. And when people recognize that you believe in yourself and you put that out there, then people are going to believe in you because you radiate that kind of confidence. You radiate wealth. You become what you are. And they see this in you. This is why they're offering you those opportunities because they can see, I don't want to say it's like you're in a horse show and you want to place the bead on the horse that is going to win. People place beads on horses they think that are going to win. A frail horse may end up winning the race by a flukes, but the horse with the strong muscular leg that has been practicing all the time, possibilities are this is the one that is going to get the highest bets. And so people
you said I'm a
believe,
stallion?
yeah, you are, girl. But
Run,
people
Jael,
believe in you
run.
when you believe in yourself. People believe in you when you believe in yourself. And it takes some time growing into becoming that confident you, but you work on you every single day. The doubts will come. I mean, Jael is just like you. Who am I for this person to come and offer that kind of opportunity to me? I ask myself sometimes, who do you think you've been a? Who do you think you've been a? So you want to go, will you even get there? Sometimes you doubt your own abilities. You know that you can do this because I tell myself, of course you can get there. Your father was in jail and you got a bursary. You went to school and you had to sell tangerines at school so you could get through fifth form, but you did it and you came on top of your class. So yes, you can do this, but you have to constantly remind yourself that you can do this because let me tell you, that doubt rises in the mind. I read this book, Robbie. I know you're an avid reader as well. You read The Richest Man in Babylon. I read that. I read the Neighbor Next Door, The Millionaire Next Door, Millionaire Mindset, Think and Grow Rich. It doesn't, whatever book that is going to improve my financial literacy, I am going to be reading it. So again, let us not forget the foundation. We move away from school and we into this entrepreneurial thing, but we have to recognize to the value of learning the foundational things like basic mathematics and learning how to read and write properly, because these are some of the things that are going to push you into that sphere that is going to create the kind of opportunities that some of us are now able to, take advantage of. So remember how important it is to go to school and learn. For those of you who are listening, who are in school, it is important that anything you're doing, that you do it well. You go to college, come out with a GPA of 4.0, no matter what it takes. If it means burning that bullseye because a Maria hit, then burn that bullseye and get a GPA of 4.0. Anything worth doing is worth doing well. You embody that throughout your life, believe me, you're going to be wealthy. It is going to pay off. That kind of belief in yourself will eventually pay off.
Yeah, and I want to come over to you, Robbie, as we continue talking about how do you get people to believe in you, to give you the opportunities that you're looking for. And I'm sure along the way you've had to have a lot of people believe in you because you're a serial entrepreneur. I think that is one of the terms you use to describe yourself. But before we do, let me say good evening to Indigenous Bushmen. I saw you just logged in, and a lot of what we're saying this evening kind of speaks to knowing yourself. Because, for example, Monelle says she gets up at 3 a.m. Jael is going to bed at 3 a.m. because she burns the midnight oil because that is when her energy is best. Me, my best energy is in the morning. So when I have a thought, I always have a pen and a notebook right next to me because I'm old fashioned. I should be doing it on my phone, but I'm old. So, write those notes down. A thought comes to mind. Right. Thank you, Jael. Write those notes down so that you do not lose the thought. You do not lose a potential opportunity that might come your way. So knowing yourself is important and knowing what skills you have. Jael talked about being Dominican and Canadian. I know this other young man, many Dominicans may know him. His name is Fabian Flora, and he is a high jumper all the way in Holland, the Netherlands. And he got opportunities because he has a Dutch passport. I think one of his parents or somebody's grandmother or somebody was born in Curacao. And he recognized that there's an opportunity that if I have folks who are born in Curacao, that means they're Dutch. And that means I can go to Holland to get the training that I need to become a world-class Olympic jumper. And what comes with being an Olympic jumper? Endorsements. He's getting paid. So that is why I say each one of us has to look at ourselves individually and say, what do I have for sale? Right? What's the song, Cocoa for sale? We're not encouraging anybody to sell cocoa, but look at yourself. What do I have? Jael is someone who has the gift of being an orator. She speaks very well, right? Monelle speaks very well. So she got into politics, got into being a senator. Robbie has a effervescent personality, so he attracts people to him. You know, I was on the beach in Mero and Robbie and I are talking, and it's so easy to talk to him. So that is a skill. That is a skill, the ability to speak to people easily. So what do you as an individual have as a potential strength that can lead into an opportunity? So Robbie, let me come over to you for your thoughts and tell us, how did you get folks to believe in you when nobody else did?
Let me see if okay, so you see this device? This is the most powerful device you will ever own, right? This device, this cell phone, the computers that were used to send the first man to the moon could not fit in most of our rooms, right? It was that big. But now this device. So Monelle, in terms of reading, I do not like to read. So that's why my mom is a principal and she's a very smart woman. So she knows me, right? Know your kids and push them in the right direction. That's very important. You see what they like, you see what they're interested in, push them and give them the support that they require in that sphere. So my mom bought me after my accident in 2003 when my friend Wayne Kuzlatek passed away. And that was actually a turning point for me. Since from when I was born, wherever that's a way long ago to 2003, I didn't have any savings, right? I was the typical individual who lived from hand to mouth, just buying, spending, and just blowing their money and just hoping that everything would change. And after the accident, I said, boy, I need to make money. If I didn't have insurance, health insurance, extremely important because you never know if you're going to get sick, if your family member is going to get sick, and you need that policy to take care of that. If not, you're going to have a huge savings account that you're going to end up depleting. So insurance is very important from that aspect of it, right? So for me, I use audiobooks. So I have right now I have about 37 audiobooks. I get about 3 or 4 every month. And all I'm doing is consistently educating myself, right? So I don't have a degree in X, Y, or Z, but let me tell you, when it comes to business, when it comes to the digital economy, when it comes to cryptocurrency, I think I could sell you a little bit, you know? So educating yourself. So when you see me walking, and I remember people say, oh, Robbie going crazy, look, people walking under the cliff. Yes, I'm walking, but I'm listening and I'm educating myself every single day as I move and I walk around. In terms of your question, how do you get people to believe in you? Again, through education. If you're knowledgeable about certain topics, when you speak, people will listen to you. And I only speak about what I know. So if you called me to speak on a different topic, I would gladly and tell you, you know something, I am unable to speak on that topic. I will only speak on what I think I have a very, very good grasp of and good knowledge. In terms of getting people to believe in you, not everyone is going to believe in you. And you have to have the confidence to be strong that when they knock you down, well, some of them are not going to knock you down. It's just that you don't gel. I remember, again, when I was starting that same fast cash business, I remember going to many of my friends and say, hey, I want you to invest in that business, you know? And it's a great, fantastic business, but not everyone is going to see or even understand that vision that you have. So they will knock you down. So again, very importantly, if you're knowledgeable, you have your information, you have all your data, more than likely you should be able to convince people. And just like in business, and if the whole issue of the internet right now, whoever speaks very positively and forcefully about a particular project and a particular topic, they will end up being the so-called guru when it comes to that particular sphere. And obviously people are going to begin to listen to you when it comes to stuff like that. So you can't force people to believe in you, but I think if you're knowledgeable and you provide fantastic information that they can also go back and fact check, because nowadays people are going to fact check stuff. You can't just say stuff arbitrarily and think you're going to escape. All I will say is, "Hey Google, blah 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 blah," and she will begin to. Well, I say she, and she will answer me and tell me, "No, Robbie, that's not true." You know, so
Alexa.
Alexa, all of that. So
Siri.
that is actually my go-to. You know, a lot of people ask me for information and they think, "Boy, Robbie, you have a lot of information." But guess what? All I do, I just say, "Hey Google." Somebody called me yesterday. Oh, I need to get the number for immigration. I say, "Hold on a second." I say, Hey Google, what is the number for immigration?" And boom, I got the number. The person said, "Boy, you're so fantastic." Obviously, people begin to believe in me because they think I'm fantastic. But guess what? I'm just saying, I'm just asking Google. So to bring it back, not everyone is going to believe in you. Not everyone is going to believe in the vision that you have, but just be confident in terms of what you're doing and do your best. Never try to fool people.
Yeah, yeah, and it also speaks to your reputation. What is your reputation? Are you delivering on your promises? So, Monelle and Jael, let's talk about your reputation. Let's talk about you as a brand. Because Jael, you'll be very familiar with that because I see you do it all the time. I've never seen you do a Facebook Live where you're looking all scruffy and you're not ready.
Yes.
If you're eating a mango or something, but if
You
you're doing
haven't
an
seen her eat the
interview,
mango.
I've seen her eat a mango, and if she's eating a mango, that is fine. But if JL is doing an interview, JL looks the part, right?
Robbie, my eating mango. Somebody actually contacted me and said, "I want to open a restaurant, and I want to use you as my like." I'm like, "Sure, why not? I get paid to
No,
eat your
but
food."
Jail, very important point. Just the other day, I saw someone. She's supposedly a millionaire, and guess what she does?
She eats.
She's a toe model.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh, I
You know,
have a friend
so
who's a hand model, and she makes.
exactly. So the world, the opportunities are endless. Do the
Very much.
research, spend some time, go online and do yourself. And like my friend just gave me some pressure. Even the cocoa has a lot of amazing opportunities. I mean, it's chocolate.
Yes.
It's. I mean, just name it. And cocoa is a huge thing right now in the world. So do your research,
Robbie,
and you'll be amazed.
Robbie, you're
Monelle,
saying something so very important here, but it goes even past doing your research. It's being your own self because if you can become a brand just by being you,
your brand.
the toe model and the hand model. I mean, I got my nails done today by a 21-year-old who only started 4 months ago, and she's really good. 4 months in, this is what she's doing. She can leverage this. She can create a YouTube channel, monetize this YouTube channel, start teaching people how to do nails online. It doesn't matter what you can do. You just have to get creative, get innovative. I mean, somebody can just decide to start taking out. We have 365 rivers to bathe in a river every single day of the year and put a YouTube channel out there. And people are Dominicans from across the globe are going to like, share, and subscribe. And that person is gonna be at 1,000, and they're gonna monetize that. And before you know it, look at Jodie Dangoben. This woman is simply amazing. I looked at her YouTube, over 1 million views.
Oh yeah.
And what people don't tell you is that you get paid for this.
Yep, you do.
Yep.
After 1,000 subscribers, you get paid for every 1,000 views.
Yep.
Nobody tells us, but there's so much information that we've not exposed ourselves to. And I believe that even as we grow and we learn and we share, it's going to create the space for we ourselves to do well. Because I believe that information should be put out there. And the more that you give, and it's just a personal belief, I believe a lot of the information you have, if you can give it back, it's going to pay you for it.
But I thank you, Mona. But I want to come back to you, Jael, because besides eating the mango, whenever I've seen you doing an interview, you always look the part. You're always, your face is made up, your hair is put up or in some way presentable. And I think many times people don't realize that that is part of your brand. That is part, of your reputation. Are you professional? Are you consistent in delivering what you want? And I have to say it because I went to Dominica. I spent in Dominica for 3 weeks, and it just seems everybody's so lackadaisical. Everybody's just so relaxed. You hire someone to come over to do something for you. They don't show up. They don't call you. you have to call them and reach out to them. And I'm thinking to myself, well, that speaks to your reputation. So not only am I not going to hire you again, I'm not going to recommend you. So if I'm looking for a plumber, I'm not going to speak your name, because you're standing on your reputation, whether it is good or bad. So Jael, I want to come to you, and then Robbie, I want to come to you about our reputation and being a brand.
Very earlier on, I realized that I was going to be a brand.
Yes.
From my early days, again, on Q, when people heard my voice, people liked the sound of my voice. They liked my laughter, and I was like, hey, I could probably make money if I grow my channel. So I decided to start making sure that I look presentable for the most part. Whenever I do interviews, I'm presentable in the sense of I look appealing to people, because my hair can be crazy, but I still looking cute, right? So appealing in a sense that whatever you put out there on the internet is always going to be out there. It's not going to go anywhere else. It's not going to get, no, it can't get deleted, right? So be prepared for whatever you put out there to last a lifetime and then some. So when you put yourself out on the internet, if in my case I do videos, not as often as I used to, but I'm always now and again posting stuff. I prefer that to put my best foot forward, because I realize that this will stay on the internet for a very long time, and possibly people will come back and they will pull it up, whether they're researching me for a job, because people do that. They go in and they do deep dives to see exactly what kind of person you are, what do you share, what do you talk about on your social media, what do you put, what pictures are you posting, is there nudity, are you always cussing, I choose and I like that. Lorby laughs because I have a few phrases that I use, and again I use my phrases and I say this is me, right? With me as a brand, granted, I feel that this I am authentically me, and because I know how I've positioned myself in the market, and I choose to say what words, my French words, when I choose to say my French words. But again, I'm very selective of the French words that I use, and even how I spell them, right? So I feel as a brand, you have to take all of these things into consideration. I've had companies reach out to me to do multiple different things. As a matter of fact, just today we signed a new contract with another company, to post, to share their content and stuff. People will look into you. They will look to see who you are. They'll look to see what you're putting out there. They're going to do it. And some people actually get paid to look into people. That is their job in companies, right? They're fact checkers, where journalists are concerned, and there are people who get paid to sit there and look into who is this person, and should we hire this person? Does this person represent our company? Can this person represent our brand? And if that's what you want to do with your life in terms of putting your face out there. I mean, I never used to think I was a model, but of late I've been feeling kind of modelish, like so I revamped my Instagram and I started only posting pictures, like professionally done pictures of myself. And I'm like, because I realized people out there have been reaching out for model related things. So I'm like, well, maybe I'm a modeler, might as well. So I am putting myself out there in a way that I feel, to me, it will make money for me. And you just have to decide if you're doing that. I chose to put myself out there. When you choose to do that, know that you have to put your best foot forward, and you also have to be prepared. People are going to come and criticize you. They will come with all different kinds of things, because so apparently
Dashing leaf.
hashtag
Hey.
you
We know how well.
so you have to develop thick skin, to in order to be able to take the criticism, even the constructive ones, because the constructive ones are sometimes very good for you, for your own growth and development, but also take the ones that are very harsh and know how to take it, like, because people can be very unkind and they'll say a lot of things, and sometimes, again, Robbie mentioned the crab in the bucket mentality. Sometimes it's just to bring you down. So you have to be prepared to get all of that, right? And I have gotten it. People have lambasted me. They have said all sorts of things that cannot be fact checked. right? And if it's not fact checked, I don't care. Right, so you have to really develop that mindset when you're gonna be putting yourself out there as a brand, and always look the part. I mean, I believe in looking the part, even if I'm wearing my $9.99 shirt, which is actually, this is a $9.99 shirt
I
because
couldn't tell.
but I always look the part, right? Anybody know how much I spend? You gotta just look, make do with what you have. I know a lot of girls, young women probably want to become business owners, but you spend a lot on your hair. You always want to have an
And a
$800
purse,
wig.
a
You
bag.
always want to have a this. You always want to have a that. Like, what happens? Like, I'm not saying you cannot have your $800 wig, but if you're gonna get an $800 wig, get an $800 wig that you can style multiple different ways. So some days wear it curly, some days wear it straight. Make sure it's going up. You have to make the right decision. If you feel like that is what is your brand, is you with your $800 wig, and you can talk about it and be honest about your $800 wig, but make sure that you're actually putting yourself out there, that you're not spending all of this money unnecessarily, and at the end of the day you're not really getting anything out of it. So.
Yeah, so Robbie, let me come to you because I know you had some comments, but I also want to mention that, we're talking a lot about technology, and we're talking a lot about social media marketing and all that. But even for folks who are not into that stuff just yet, and I really do encourage everyone to get into it, just keep in mind that your reputation speaks for yourself. If you're in business and you're looking to expand, you're looking to grow, think about it. What is your reputation? Do you have a reputation for being consistent? Do you have a reputation for producing the best products? And most importantly, like Jael just said, how do you accept criticism? Because criticism can be such a difficult pill to swallow. So
Absolutely.
how are you taking feedback for your customer? Do you become defensive and you're ready to fight with the person because someone said you could have done a better job? Or do you accept the criticism and think, well, you know what, this is an area I could potentially improve on? So there's opportunity for everyone in this conversation. There's a part to play for everyone to be a part of this conversation. So Robbie, I know you had a couple of comments. I hope you didn't forget what you wanted to say.
I think I've forgotten all of the comments, but
Oh,
however,
no. Write it down.
however, like you're asking brand. I mean, your brand is everything. People are going to remember you based on who you are, what you said, and stuff like that. So, for me, I was one of the people who started early. I think I was a brand even before there was social media and all these other kind of things and stuff like that. People always knew who you were based on certain things that you did, whether you drive fast or whether you crash cars, or whether they think you had X, Y, or Z. So that was part of it. And then there was the social media. So for me, people would say, but why are you adding all these people as your friends? I'm like, guess what? I consider myself to be a brand. I consider myself to be a business, and I'm a businessman. So when I want to promote my products, I want to have as many people on as possible. I've always been pissed at Facebook for the issue of only having 5,000. I mean, they should increase that to make it a little bit better. But guess what? That again is changing. People are moving away from Facebook. It has its time, it has its place. But the other platforms that persons are using, you have to be able to not be scared to move from one because you feel that's where your brand is strong, and you need to go to the new ones that are changing stuff. You're going to have to be able to go to that new and do things. I remember when I became a minister, I actually had to tone down my postings because I posted a lot of nonsense, a lot of jokes, funny jokes, corny jokes, whatever you want to call it. But I had to tone it down. But now that I'm no longer, I can start back again. But at the same time, you still have to balance it off, like you're saying, Simone, because you don't want to upset people too much because you have a business that you don't want to rub them the wrong way. So there's a balance. And like Jael is saying, it's so important, but you still have to be yourself. You cannot change completely, otherwise you're lost. So there's one of these guys that I listen to, Gary V. He is, for me, one of the ultimate marketing gurus. But if you think JL drops F bombs, I mean, he drops a million F bombs. I have to make sure I listen to him when the boys are not around. I must have my earpieces on. So it's also important to be authentic and to be you. Otherwise you can get into trouble. Like Jael was saying, even the whole issue of fact checking. When someone comes to me for a job, guess where I go to? I go
Mhm.
to all of your social media pages. Okay, I'm going to go to all of your social media pages to see what type of person you are and what you said about yourself. Does it fall in line with that? And at the same time, too, are you going to be a risk to my business? So, like Jill is saying, that information is there for a very long time. So, you have to pay the plat. So, based on that, I think I'm going to have to get a makeup artist to make sure I look a little bit more presentable going forward on these shows.
Thank you, Robbie and Mona. Let me come to you, but before we do, but before I do, I think we have to redefine, and I say it over and over again because it's the truth. We have to redefine our thoughts on social media. Because I think many of us, if we're a little bit older, we're, well, the social media thing is not for me. They hear what they're talking about. If I go for a job, they're going to look into me, blah, blah, blah. But see it as the opportunities. Social media is where you sell who you are. Social media, if you have a business and you're not on social media, I mean, it's a wasted opportunity, because that is the perfect platform to advertise your business, to get more customers, to let people see what you're capable of doing. So if you have a business and you're not on social media, I'm sorry, it's a missed opportunity. So you have to think, we all have to think of social media beyond just pictures of our family, pictures of our vacation, but more as an opportunity, the same business and financial opportunities that we're talking about. Social media is the perfect platform for that. So, and we all have to just be willing to learn. That is what I'm hearing from the panel this evening, that we all just have to have the mindset that I'm going to learn something new. I'm going to try something new. And if it fails, I'm not going to be discouraged. I'm going to try something else. Because I think that is what the picture we're seeing emerging this evening with our panel. So, Monelle, I want to come over to you, and then I want to go over to Facebook so we can take some of the great conversation that I'm seeing going on Facebook. So, Monelle, your thoughts?
Well, I mean, Jael has said most of it. Robbie, you said a lot as well. We have to be our authentic selves. I am my authentic self. Everybody know where I am on issues. We live in a space. Dominica is a very small community, and we either get painted red or blue. So we're not skipping that part of it. We either get painted red or blue. But I really feel that it is time that we get away from that, because people get to be their authentic selves without having to be colored. I like to say that I am Dominican before I am anything else. End of story. So don't color me. I may affiliate with a particular brand, but don't color me, because I am just a Dominican like everybody else. And that is why I like hearing from everybody, because I believe that everybody has something to offer. Some people need a little help honing their skills. Some people need a lot of help honing their skills. But there are some of us who can assist with that journey, with that venture, because we've studied it ourselves. My being on my M and somebody starting off on the A, it's true that we're in two different places, but if I am able to help, I should be able to help. Social media provides that platform where you can reach more people than you would normally be able to doing it physically, manually. And I agree with you, Simone, that you have to leverage social media. But what, Jael, you may be able to relate to that. It is very difficult in the beginning to get a strong social media following. You're going to have to create that brand, become your authentic self, and then this will sell itself. Because in the beginning, you're creeping. Robbie, I don't know if it was the same for you. I suspect when you went into politics, I was trending at 200 friends, man, before I went into politics. And then boom, I gave a speech, I rise. We both do. I didn't have space. There was no space for me to take the thousands of, I had to create a page, the thousands of Facebook additions that I had on. But again, all the time I was just me, just simple little Monelle planting my little dashing and my lettuce and checking my little sale. Of course not. I would not have been able to sell that on social media. again, Jael, you're so right about creating the brand, looking your authentic self. I love the nose ring, by the way. I love it all. And even when you eat mangoes, you look sophisticated eating your mangoes. So yeah, you rock it. You rock it. You
Nobody
rock
can eat a
whatever you
mango
do.
like Jael on social media.
Nobody can eat them. And that is the thing. It's because she has created a brand so that anything she puts out there, whether or not her hair is messy, it doesn't matter. She is herself and she's unafraid and unashamed to be her. You accept me for who I am or not. But I know who I am. And I love that about her. I love that she's confident enough to be herself. And people gravitate towards that kind of honesty.
Yes.
I don't know, a lot of people,
Integrity,
you will see them
integrity.
trying extremely hard on social media. And a lot of people, Robbie, you said it, be honest. Just be honest. It's okay to be honest. And that is how your brand is created, through your honesty. Because again, Simone, another thing that you said is people fact check you. So you fact check me. I have this $800 wig, really and truly, but when you take a look around me, then I cannot support that $800 wig because I have so many other things falling through the cracks. You know, what are we putting our emphasis on? And so, again, you know, the social media platform is there to be utilized and to create brands. But again, I feel what is most important is working on who you are as a person, and then that will sell itself on the social medium. Because I mean, now how many likes I get on Instagram? Maybe 20 likes. But if I should put up a post that says Bitcoin went to the moon and I bought it at $4, I bought it at $5, and you get so many people liking. People like those kind of things. People like to see stuff. I don't know why. You know, people come on the internet for entertainment, you know, some for education and all of that. But you have to have something to offer. So whenever you come in on the internet, be able to offer something. There are people who come on the internet and they use it for quote unquote magie. They say absolutely nothing. Sometimes we abuse the internet. There are people who come on there, they bully. Remember, everything, there's good and bad to it. And so there are the bad use of social media platforms. I have to check my daughters, because there are predators out there who avail themselves through our children on social media. So it's not always all good, but you can use that space. You can use that space to leverage your abilities. And
Thank you for that, Monelle. And you know, our time is speeding along, so I'm looking at the clock, and I want to make sure that we talk about what we need to be teaching our children beyond the 9 to 5. What, as we, and I think we're all parents here, what are we teaching our children, or what should we be teaching our children moving forward, so that they're placed in even a better position than we are? But I also want to piggyback on some of the thoughts that we're sharing today, because I think for many of us, our greatest downfall is comparison. So we look at Jael, she has this incredible social media following, and we say, oh, I want to be Jael. We look at Robbie, he's a successful businessman. Oh, I want to be Robbie. We look at Monelle, Monelle has her family and she's able to do so much more. Oh, why can't I be like Monelle? And instead of focusing the energy on being authentically who we are, right? We're spending all this energy comparing ourselves to the next person and not really investing in our own skills and talents. And then the other thing, which is, one of the downfalls of social media, is too many people are chasing the likes, right? Too many people are chasing the likes. So, for example, anyone who ever invites me to be a part of the panel, the first thing I always tell them is I don't talk politics, right? So could I be getting thousands and thousands and thousands of more views on my social media by jumping into the politics like everybody else? I certainly could. But that's not authentically who I am. The authentic me wants to talk about opportunities. The authentic me wants to talk about the information we can present to our people so that they can advance their lives financially. They can create opportunities for ourselves. The authentic me wants to promote and celebrate Dominica. So instead of 5,000 likes, I may get, 1,500. But that's not going to sway me, because you have to be authentically who you are. Because guess what? I may be out there ranting and raving about politics, and then I can't sleep tonight
Well,
because
Simone,
this is
Simone,
not
like,
me.
like don't mean anything. Is
Right.
is the eyes, the amount of eyes that fall on it that mean, and that
Right.
so people don't have to like something, but they've seen it, and that's
Yes.
all that matters.
And
So
I
I
realize
don't
that
even
because
pay
it
attention
gives
to
you
the likes.
an audience of how many people you're attracting.
Yeah, the likes don't mean
Yes.
anything, because sometimes
Yes.
people like and they've not even seen it, because they're just going
Right.
through stuff and they just liking, right? But
Mhm.
it's when the impressions you get, the
Yes.
impressions is what really really matters when you're on
Yes.
social media. And for me, that is how I can monetize things and ask for make certain asks, is based off of impressions. And
Yeah, and I need to have you back, Jael, because that's a whole other conversation, social media marketing.
yeah.
So, at some point, I know you're extremely busy, but at some point we have to have you back so we can talk about this. But just be authentically you. That was my point. Be authentically you, so that you're not posting stuff out there to get likes and to get views, and then you go to bed and you're like, boy, I shouldn't have said that, nah? Boy, I didn't really verify that information, no? We like to say no, right? But when you do what you're passionate about and you're being authentically you, then you sleep well, you feel fulfilled, because you're doing what you feel you've been called to. But before our time runs out, I keep looking at the clock, let's talk about what we ought to be teaching our children. What do we know now that we wish we had learned earlier in life? So let's have that conversation. I think Robbie just dropped, but he'll be back. So let's go, ladies.
Monelle, you want to go first?
Oh boy. I wish I could spin my camera because I want to show you what my 19-year-old daughter is doing at this time. She's actually on her second hair for the day. She did this.
Oh, nice.
So she's 19 and she started at 14. And now she's created a brand for herself. It's called Nice Empire. And she has thousands of clients. And she braids the most beautiful of hairstyles in the fastest of time. And in spite of that, she's a pre-law student with a 3.5 GPA. She's doing her thing. And one of the things that I am so pleased about is that she is able to leverage not just the educational opportunities that is now available to her, but she has jumped on that skill. And she's not graduating with everybody else right now because I didn't want to overburden her with too much schoolwork, and she couldn't invest any time in building her skill. And so she had to push her classes. She had to take them differently. So that way she could both build on her skill and build on her education. And she's doing very well. I think that is something that we need to do. We need to teach our children how to. And Jael, you said it. What can I do with my hands? What can I use to make money if all else fails? What do I have that personally, if there's another Maria, God forbid, and I have no access to the internet, what can I do to make money for myself? And I feel that particularly now that we need to be teaching our children to hone in on a skill that is going to make them money over time, but not just one. Because the idea of multiple streams of income means that we get good at something and then we keep growing on that base. We build from there. What are you good at? You master this and you keep building on it, because multiple streams of income is very important. It is vital. And I put something on my Facebook today. There are a few things that are not taught at school. One of them is, we don't talk about taxes at school. We don't talk about financial literacy at school. But somebody made a comment. Do you teach it at home?
Mm-hmm.
And it's also very important that we as parents, we have those conversations with our children. We talk about savings and we talk about investing. I bought a coin for my kids for each of their birthdays this past year. So I bought a cryptocurrency as a birthday gift for each of them this year, because I want them to learn the power of investing. What I want them to do is to look back 10 years from now at what that cryptocurrency is going to be, so they can understand the power of investing. So I don't just tell them, I show them. My son is 5 years and he knows when my trading platform is open. He's like, Mommy's trade is opened. So even then, they start to understand that you can use everything that is around you to build from it, to grow from it, to monetize it. And we have to teach our children how to manage money, how to love money, how to treat money. Because a lot of us we don't treat money with respect. We take 10 cents and we throw it away. No, 10 and 10 and 10 and 10 and 10 and 10. 10 times is $1. You better put that 10 cents you picked up in a piggy bank. And when it becomes $1, probably you can buy some lollies. You can buy a conkles, sell it for $1.25. I'll teach you how to leverage your money. I'll teach you how to grow that dollar, 1 penny at a time. And so financial literacy is very important. Those of us who don't know and we are parents, our responsibility is to go out there, educate ourselves, or do the educating with your children. Have them listen to the audiobooks, like Robbie says. They don't like to read, that's fine. Let's listen to an audiobook together. We can do this. There ought to be this family time where we can talk about finances. Mommy, how much are you making? How much do I need to save? My daughter, she has a cat and she wanted me to put some cash on her cat because she's making enough money. It's summertime and she wants to put money because she wants to shop. But I still tell her, it's as important as it is to enjoy your money. You need to also learn to be a little bit frugal sometimes. You have to be a little bit stingy because you have to save for rainy days. If not save, then invest. So it's an ongoing education, but it's important to pass it on to them. And I believe that, if each of us teach one, if each one teach one, we're gonna have a very financially literate Dominica in a little time. Jael, you're a role model. So Simone, you're doing a fantastic job. I just hope more people can gravitate to the platform because you drop so much gems on your platform. And I mean, a lot of us, we don't listen. We're more in tune to the entertainment part of it, but the education is so very valuable. So I just, we have to share and encourage, and we have to do what we have to do.
Yeah, and the important thing for me is knowing that you are offering a service that is valuable and that you're reaching an audience that appreciates the information.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't get caught up in all the other stuff. But Jael, how are you raising your boys differently?
My boys know, first of all, that I'm a workaholic. So that is like something that they know. They know that I work, but they also know that how I spend. So they know when, like my kids, I've witnessed people with their kids shopping. Took my son to Miami Christmas, and I witnessed other parents with their kids who are about the same age as mine asking mommy for this and asking for, like, my kids don't ask me for anything.
Good.
When I tell you they don't ask me for anything, because they know we get things when you do things, you get rewarded, right? That's how we roll. Everything else, you got to earn your keep. So you wash dishes, you earn your keep, right? So, and that's how I operate. You make your bed, if you don't make your bed, you don't earn your keep. Like, that's how it is. And I remember somebody saying to me, oh, so you're telling me when your kids get older, they're gonna pay rent? Yes. Once you get a job, you're going to pay rent. You're going to pay rent, because at the end of the day, I want to show you that just because I work hard for this or whatever it is, that it just comes on a platter for you. That's not the way life is. So you're gonna earn your keep, you're gonna pay rent, and whatever I choose to do with the rent money, I will do with it. Whether I decide to invest it so when you're ready to buy your own home, that I give it back to you, because that was done for me at some point. That I could do that for you, right? So and that is really and truly what I believe. I want to continue to teach my children, that it doesn't come easy. You have to work hard for it, right? My son asked his dad the other day, so what are you leaving for me? I'm like, you're trying to kill us off, man. Like, the man wants to know, what is he going to get? What of the plot is his, and what is going to be his brother's own, right? And he's 10 years old, right? And he's thinking, hey, I need to make sure my financial future is set, right? But one of the things that I've always done, I was raised by my mom who believed in insurance, and my mom was like like my mom had how many insurance policies. And when I came back to Canada, one of the things that I did was I did some research on wealth management and how exactly I can ensure that my kids can be the trust fund babies that white people's kids are. And it's as simple as putting like $50 aside every single month into an account that is managed by an insurance company, right? And when my kids turn 18, I don't have to pay for school. I don't have to pay for education. If they want to go take their money and go on a Euro trip, that's their business. At the end of the day, they can be trust fund babies. Why aren't we as Black people teaching our children about those things? Why do we feel that our children need to stay at home until they're 40, 50 years old, and they're not contributing, they're not paying lights, they're not paying water, they're not paying nothing, they're working, they're taking all their money, they're spending, they're drinking, they're shopping, they're doing all these things. And we're not saying to them, give me $300 for your rent or go outside and rent. Simple. Whether I take that $300 and I put it in a savings account for you is my business, what I do with it. But now you're in a position to work and to make money. And I tell my son, from the time you can work, it could be 14, 13, 12, whatever the time is, you can work, you can get a social security card or whatever it is and work. You're going to work. We're putting you to work and you will earn your keep. It's not a free ride. And I think we raise children thinking that everything just comes
Entitled.
naturally. You're entitled to everything. And that's not how the rest of the world works. Like summers were created because farmers wanted their kids home to work on the farm. That's why summers were created.
Amen.
That is why people have summers, that there's no school in the summer, because farmers wanted the summer for their kids to work on the farm, to help them on the farm so they would spend less. So why are we not having our kids help us with our job? When people saw my son doing ads, he was 2 years old doing ads. He was doing ads on radio, doing ads on TV. He was 2 years. People wondered how I did it, how I would do it. I mean, now he playing parts too. She doesn't want to do it. He said, I need to open a YouTube account for him so he can start posting his videos. That's where he's looking to, because he wants to have subscribers. And he messages me and he's like, look, I got 271 comments on my last thing. And he's so like into that space. And I'm like, I'm gonna get you there because I see you're trying to go that way. But that's how we have to teach them. We have to teach them that it doesn't come easy. You have to work hard for it. You're not going to be spoon-fed by me. I am not always going to be there to help you. You're going to have to learn to get things done just like how I have to. And it's better you learn now rather than you learn later on when you after having make it. Because I had to make a lot of mistakes before I could learn, right? So why set your kids up for failure when you can teach them from now that everything you do, you want to have a cell phone and you're working, you go pay your cell phone bill. Why should I have to pay a cell phone bill for you? You're working, And a lot of parents in Dominica and probably listening, they probably have big children living at their home. I say big children because they're big children and they live in and they feeding off of you, they're eating, but they're not contributing to anything. And we think it's okay, but it's not, because you can charge them or they can go outside and rent somewhere else. And they'll pay you. They prefer pay the $300 than go and pay the $1,000 outside to rent. So start charging them and put some money aside for them. Eventually you can buy a plot and say, look, your land, now get out.
Yeah, and I think that is the greatest strategy, Jael and Monelle. And let me apologize. Robbie got knocked off the live and he's trying to come back in. So if anyone is at the studio of Q95, if you can let him back in on the Facebook Live, he's actually in the waiting room. So if you can look on the computer and you will see him in the waiting room. So we do apologize. Robbie's trying to come back in, and we hope he can come back to give his final thoughts. But I think it's such a tragedy because so many of us spend all this time. Oh, there you are, Robbie. Sorry about that. Spend all this time educating ourselves and figuring out these things for ourselves, and then we raise children who are entitled, especially when we come from Dominica and we come to the States. And I've had people tell me they have 24-year-olds still living at home that don't know how to use a washer and dryer. And I'm thinking
Simone,
to myself, your first goal as a parent is to teach your children to be independent. So now I have a 10-year-old who can cook her breakfast, who's getting ready to be able to cook her dinner, can do her laundry. And today she's telling me her plans for earning her money so she can start saving for college. And she doesn't know we have other plans for her for college. As far as she knows, she has to make her own money to go to college. So you have to start early. We have to teach our children early that they're not entitled to anything. What you see mommy and daddy have belongs to mommy and daddy, and how you gonna get your own?
yeah.
Monelle, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I listened to this. I'm not sure if it's a TikTok reel. Jael, I'm not sure. Robbie, I'm not sure if you came across it. It's about Dubai. So this gentleman is driving some, top class vehicle. And he's saying, well, my father rode a camel. I'm driving this vehicle. I'm not sure what it is he's driving now. Maybe he's into some big vehicle. Give me a vehicle that has a huge name.
Lamborghini?
A Lamborghini. But I think the father is driving something else. I'm not sure what, a Land Rover. His dad is doing a Land Rover. He said, my son will be in the Lambo. His son is going to be back in the Land Rover. And my grandson, my great-grandson, is going to be back on a camel. And you know why that is? It's because hard time creates strong men. Strong men create entitled men. Entitled people create weak men.
Very well.
And so we need to be very careful what we pass on. Jael, I love what you're saying. And my daughter, I wish she could have been hearing this, because I say, hey, you got to contribute for the internet. Since you use it, you're 19, you work, you make money. You have to give me some money for the rent. You need to pay some water bill. You need to buy the snacks in the house because I buy all the food. So, contribute the snacks. Because what I don't want her to get into the habit of thinking is that life is a free ride. It's not. There is no free ride. And in as much as I'm working hard to leave a legacy of wealth behind for them, I have 5 of them. Whether or not it's $5 million, we split that 5 ways. Then each of us get $1 million. If you're not careful with that, you're going to lose that million in a year. And if you have no skills and talents, and you're lazy and you're not taught right, then you're going to be back in the same position where we all started, where everybody was in the garden and trying to make ends meet. Learn the basic. The fundamentals are important. And I love, and you have boys. You have 2 boys.
I have 2 boys.
I have 4 girls.
Wow.
So I have 4 girls and a son. So you can imagine how important it is for me to teach them how to be strong and independent women, in the space out there. It's not just that you have to go get your own, because I understand partnership. I'm also a wife, so I understand being a partner. I understand I'm stronger when I'm a partner with my husband. But you have to be able to bring stuff to the table. What are you offering as a woman? You cannot just be your looks, can you? You have to be able to offer more. So I love the lessons that you're teaching. Robbie's back, so he can tell us, the great lessons that he's teaching his son. They may be listening to audiobooks together.
Yes, but before I come to Robbie, because we're quickly running out of time, we must take some of our Facebook Live comments because they're such great comments. So Rosie Felix is saying the Virtual Home Economy Business Conference is coming to Dominica. All Dominicans on Dominica invited to see the Opulence Global Online Business Tour. And the phone number, if you want more information, is 767-276-0833. So she's telling us about opportunities coming to the area. Let's take some comments from folks we have not heard from as yet. Penny is saying, hello everyone. I'm just jumping in. Now I'm late. Good night. Great conversation. So, Penny and everyone, don't forget, if you're looking on Facebook or YouTube, you can simply go back to Q95's Facebook page and you will be able to see the program from the beginning. And Naren says, amazing program, inspiring guests. Keep exploring your collective potentials. Monelle, Robbie, Jael, impressive as usual. Robbie smiling. Robbie smiling at the cocoa. Naren, it had to take you to make a comment like that. Gerald Dawes said, good program. Claralyn Warrington, good night. I'm late, but as the saying goes, better late than never. Lower Tech, love the hair. Thank you for that. Sabria, great to see you, my sister. Hazel Ann, nice to see you. Amanda Nicholas, Johanna Isidore, what's appealing and can gravitate people towards an individual is your integrity. It's a rare characteristic lately, but very important. Gilda Nestitang, my sister, and Jael's sister as well. Great program, Simone. I just admire the way you transition from one point to the next. I truly enjoy how you encourage your guests as well. Well done. Thank you, my sister. Good to see you. Stain Seraphil, big up Monelle Wilson. Let's get comments from anyone we have not yet gotten a comment from as we get ready to wind down. Amanda Nicholas, the Bible says that a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. This is what we need to be teaching children. It's not about being rich, but it's about building wealth so that your children and your children won't have to beg anyone for a pound of sugar, and they can give back. It's not what you have people will remember, but it's what we do for the people during our life. Gregory Anton, nice to see you, says great program. Diamond Tyson, some parents forget that their kids have to grow up and be a husband or a wife to another person. Thank you for that. Comments from people we have not heard from. Janice Sharpless, always great to see you. Anthony Simon was saying Tesla as a high quality brand. Agatha, Hazel Ann, always great to see you. Victorious, it's our responsibility as parents to teach them how to, of all possibilities that we know of, they will, however, choose what they want to do. So, Robbie, thank you for coming back on. Let's have your final thoughts as we wind down for the evening.
So sometimes they say you have to agree to disagree. So, and there were so many different points, right? A very important one is to ask for advice. There's always a learning curve, right? So you can do anything that you put your mind to, but it's going to take you 6 months to do it. But guess what? If you ask Monelle, if you ask Jael, or you reached out to me, if you were going to do something that I did already, it means instead of you taking 6 months and I don't want to say waste time, but make mistakes along those lines, you could get it done in 3 months' time. So a lot of times we are scared, and we're scared to reach out to other people. And part of a life is being able to give back. So you can give back in what they call it, tithe. I prefer to give back in terms of giving people advice, because my advice, I think, is worth more than the 10%, right? So always be try not to be scared to ask people for advice, and that would allow you to go a lot further. In terms of your children, let them understand that the possibilities are endless. But again, it has to start with you as the parent. So parents have to start reading. Parents have to start listening. As parents have to start making sure that, like we were saying before, you have the right set of people. You have to have all sorts of people in your circle, those who are going to lift you, those who are going to keep you there, so that you can continuously move and improve on yourself. Education is definitely a lot cheaper. There's so many programs. You can go online and either do it free of charge if you're willing to spend the time, or you can take it $25 and get it done. Or even in terms of you can actually do it online without having to go and spend all of that money to go to another country and do stuff. So the possibilities are out there. So in terms of your children, look at them, see what they're into, and give them the support and the knowledge that they require to move in that particular direction. Don't hold them back. It is a natural thing for us to hold people back, and we also hold back our children as a result of that. So they get scared. So that's why many of us stick to the go to school and get good grades in primary school. Secondary school, go to school and get good grades. When you go to sixth form, go to school and get good grades and get a good job. Be a doctor, lawyer, X, Y, or Z. So they keep it very narrow, but the world is so big. Be street smart, but at the same time be book smart. So I consider myself to be street smart. I want to make sure that my children are book smart and street smart. If they can do the both, then it's amazing. So if their business fail, they can go back to the employee world, or likewise they can just expand. So my thing is just understand what your children are in love with and give them the support for them to grow. And if you don't have the knowledge and the skills, find people who can help you and help them along that same line.
Yes, thank you so much. So thank you to my wonderful panel for being here this evening. I think we learned so much from you this evening. I made some notes on some of the topics that we covered, and I think that we found great value on the importance of being consistent, the importance of discipline, the importance of sacrificing, especially with Jael and her non-shopping ways, pretty much like me. I'm not a shopper. How you use your time. We all have 24 hours in the day. How are you using that time? Are you investing that time in new opportunities, or are you spending that time maybe just on social media looking at other people's posts? The importance of tenacity, the ability to fall down and get back up and keep trying, and the importance of educating ourselves, whether you're not a reader and you want to use audiobooks. Robbie, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to give one little plug. Like Monelle said, like Jael said, there's lots of opportunities, but very importantly, and that's why a couple of times you saw me doing this. What I'm trying to say to people is that they have to listen. And those persons who are listening, liking this does not help us, right? It doesn't help anyone. Sharing is caring. Someone out there needs to listen to this. Someone out there needs to understand what we're talking about. So please share that. Like we're saying, you can go on. Many of us have individual skills. Just imagine we've trained 180 people in the last 2 years to take their skills and hone their skills and move it to the next level. So again, if you're not listening, you're not going to hear when there's a next program. So you have to listen. You have to listen to the radio. You have to listen to social media. You can't just don't just stick yourself to one set of information. Otherwise, that's all you're going to hear. The algorithms are so funny nowadays that they will only feed you content that you want to hear. So you have to make sure you break out of that. Otherwise, you're going to, you're going to say this, you're going to see the same set of friends, the same type of jokes, the same side of stuff. You have to listen. So, like we talked about Alexa and all these things, I said, Alexa, at 6 o'clock in the morning, turn on. So at 6 o'clock in the morning, it automatically turns on. It tells me the time. It tells me the weather. It tells me what's going on in the stock market. And then at 7 o'clock, it switches to DBS radio, and it gives me the news, because there's so much information out there. We have to listen. And at 8, and at 7:55, it goes off.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you so much. And the last point I was going to make, the importance of the people we surround ourselves with, so very important. So I think we learned a lot tonight. I think we absolutely learned a lot tonight. And like my sister Sabria is saying, listen to your own voice as well. Blocking out all the extra noise is so important. So again, we want to thank our panel. We want to thank our Q95 listeners. We want to thank our Facebook Live audience for the very engaging conversation this evening. So as the world continues to change and evolve, we will be back right here on your radio to talk about and explore those changes, and to talk about economic and practical financial opportunities and other ways that we can all move our lives forward to, and also to provide hope, to provide inspiration for our young people. So don't forget, mark your calendar. We will be back July 27th from 8 p.m. right here on Q95, the big station. And this time we're going to be looking at the illegal economies in Dominica. So I'm sure, we have some drug trafficking going on and some other illegal stuff. So you certainly want to mark your calendar to be here. Don't forget to follow Q95 FM radio on Facebook, as well as Push Past 10 and jump on Q95DA.com for the best in programming, as well as any missed episodes of our programs that you may have missed along the way. And we continue to grow our international village. We continue to grow our global community over at pushpast10.com. So again, that is PUSHPAST10.com. And our latest project is the Dominica Child Protection Society, because at this point, we need to do so much more than simply talking about the sexual abuse of our children. So we have embarked on a very ambitious project to create a child protection society, where our acronym is CPR. So we will offer counseling, we will offer, protection for our children, and we will also offer the ability to report on these cases. So again, we want to thank everyone who is here. Don't forget, we will be back in 2 weeks. Pyro Davidson, I see you. There are persons who do not have the initiative to do, but they have the ability to contribute to society and to be proactive. This mindset that to be heirs out there is static. It doesn't provide expansion. So thank you, Pyro, and thank you everyone who made a contribution. Good evening to our panel. You can unmute your mics. You're free from jail. And say good evening. So again, this has been Roots Connections on Q95, the big station. And I am your host, Simone Mathieu. Until next time, you have yourself a wonderful rest of the week. Guys, thank you for being here. It was a pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
For your contribution.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having us.
Yes,
Bye,
great
Jael. Bye,
conversation.
Monelle.
Thank you. God
Thank
bless.
you, Lambi.
Bye.
Thank you, Shoen.
Bye, Lambi.
All right.
Bye, Lambi.
Good night, guys.
Joe Rastafari. Oh, oh, children, home. Wanna go home. Oh, yes, children, home. Got to go. Yeah, we've been trodden from Genesis right on through Revelation. We've been a subject to master's feet. So bliss, so we wanna go. Yeah, we are a people enslaved and sold, scattered through the earth. Jacob is calling his children 12 tribes, so we want go. Oh, children, home. Oh, to Zion, home. Wanna go, take me there, home. Oh, to Zion, home. Wanna go, yeah. We've been trodden from Genesis right on through Revelation. We've been a subject to master's feet. So bliss, so we wanna go. Oh, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah and Zebulun,